Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of Caught on the Mic. I am Michael Clark. If you know anything about me in the non-podcast world, you know that I love Cajun food and a good story. And my next guest has both. He is the chef to the stars. His name is Ryan Rondeno. We have a great conversation talking about where his influences come from and a little bit about his journey. I can't wait for you to watch this. As always, listener and viewer discretion is advised. Ryan Rondeno joins me on Caught on the Mic today. Ladies and gentlemen, I am super excited about this next episode because my next guest is a saint, not just because he's from New Orleans, but because he agreed to do a podcast on the week of Thanksgiving, and he's a chef. He is the chef to the stars. He has cooked for the likes of Will Smith, Scarlett Johansson, Ben Affleck, Leonardo DiCaprio, and much more. Ryan Rondeno, how the heck are you, my friend?
Now, great. How are you? It's the calm before the storm.
Yeah.
So I'm just taking it in stride.
Yeah. You got any major plans? That's a dumb question, but I mean, gotta ask.
It's Thanksgiving week. I think that's pretty much my plan for the week. Just to, cook some bona fide Thanksgiving meals. So definitely looking forward to that.
Yes, absolutely. And I imagine you do it with that Cajun flair.
Always. Always. With the Cajun flair. You got to bring home into it. You got to bring that Southern aspect into what food should be all about. Flavor, because that's what that's what they remember at the end. How the food tastes. Was it great? Was it flavorful? Was it off the charts? This is what they take for, especially on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So without any further ado, why don't I kind of pass it over to you, introduce yourself a little bit, and let's kind of talk about how you got into all of this.
I'm Chef Ryan Rondeno. I'm originally from New Orleans, Louisiana. I've been cooking 24, 25 years.
Wow.
So started at Chef John Phillips Culinary Institute. I went there 4 years. Then while attending school, I started my restaurant career, really started at Commander's Palace under the late Jamie Shannon. So within respectability, learned from so many chefs, so many talents in that realm, because during that time, that's where a lot of chefs started. You had the Paul Perdomes, you had the Emeril Lagasse's, you had so many different talented chefs that went on to have respectful and phenomenal careers. So that's where, there are chefs who will come from all over just to really, taste this Cajun Creole aspect.
So what brought you out to LA and kind of put you in this precipice where you were cooking for celebrities?
Brought me to LA was cooking for Will Smith.
Wow.
No, I was that's crazy, right? I mean, I never thought I would venture into the private chef world, because I was always a restaurant guy. But I think during the 2008 recession, getting a job in the restaurant was tough. Nobody was really hiring. I was in Atlanta at the time. So it really had to open up your options, and you really wanted to see what was out there. So I applied for a job in LA, not knowing that it was a friend of mine that was putting the ad in the job. And she called me up, say, you're hiring, they want to fly you out, interview you, and the rest has been history.
What's funny about that is I didn't even put two and two together, but we were joking around before I pressed record, and you started letting out those bars from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, he's cooked for Will.
Exactly.
So what's been your favorite experience so far in the past 24 years?
Man, that's a hard question because
Yeah.
there's so many different experiences that I've been able to be a part of. Not only for cooking with Will Smith, not only cooking at the Masters last year, Emmys, ESPYs, LA Philharmonic, competing in competitions through different states and competing at a high level. Um, starting my own spice line, develop my own rugs. So there's so many aspects to where it's not that it's your favorite, but it's your journey. So
Yes.
it's just the respect of finding your journey, finding what works for you, and you're able to look back and say, I did that, and then
Yes.
I'm continuing to do that as you watch it grow.
Yeah. So when you think about all of that, what does legacy mean to you as far as like what you've created in the culinary world and beyond?
Well, man, legacy goes so many different ways. I think like when my dad passed away, like he was a mailman, and they named the post office after him.
Oh wow.
So you look at that as legacy.
Mm-hmm.
So in receiving that, you kind of ask yourself, okay, how do you step your game up? How you build from that? And within the culinary career, I've been able to build upon that and really achieve the things that I'm achieving and continue to achieve.
Right.
So all the things we mentioned previously, um, just wanting to grow, wanting to get better, and really have the world, at a global aspect, really understand what my cuisine is all about. There's so many Southern Cajun Creole chefs, but everybody puts their stamp on every little aspect of what they do.
Why is Cajun food the best? I mean, that's a real simple question, right?
I mean, there's so many countries: the French, the Italian, the Spanish, the English, the African, the Native American, and not to forget the Vietnamese. So all these cultures, all these nations really combine into making Cajun Creole for what it is. You know, um, Growing up, build on flavor. You know, when I moved here or when I go to the States, the question is it, or will people know? They think it's spicy, think it's spicy and fried. That's what I get a lot. Either everything's spicy and fried, and then that's far from the truth.
My favorite episode of Anthony Bourdain's show was when he went down to Louisiana for Mardi Gras and he toured all the restaurants and such around that area. But really, the best cooking he found was at a backyard party.
Oh, of course. I mean, you go in people's homes and they just turn up. There's no limit, to what it is. There's no, the flavor aspect, the building of flavors that you taste through their cooking is off the charts. Versus the restaurants are great, but there's a differentiation of tasting Cajun Creole between a home and a restaurant.
Yes. But I think one thing that kind of gets forgotten that I think Cajun cooking and that culture that surrounds that understands more than anybody else in the United States is that a meal used to be more of a social thing versus being a consumption thing. Because if you go to a foreign country, you basically reserve a table, you're there pretty much all night, through every single course. What is it about our culture, American culture, that's become lost?
I think everything's on go. Everything's quick, fast. Everybody has to be somewhere instead of just taking time, just relax for a minute.
Yeah.
Enjoy a meal, relax, nourish yourself, and really take in what you're about to experience. I mean, you may get that for a lot of places for dinner time, but for lunch, snacks, things like that, gotta go, gotta go, gotta go.
Right.
So the old saying, time is money. So everybody's on that call.
Yes, for sure. For sure. Well, kind of talking about the community and building community through a good meal. You have an app that's food culture, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Could could you talk about that a little bit?
So food culture it's an app it's tailored to people that everyday cooking. Not the strenuous those 30 minutes or less that you want to look into. That's give you something different, so you're not really cooking the same thing over and
Yeah.
over. It was definitely developed during the pandemic.
Oh
During
wow.
the pandemic, when I think the first 2 weeks, everybody was calling, how would I cook with this? Would I cook with that? And I was like, time out. Hold on, time out. It kind of showed you that, um, everyone's um, range is not that big. So they can try different things. Try
Yeah.
different things to really not only impress themselves, impress their friends, impress their family. So, and really give something different to the dinner table.
So in relation to that, how did you manage in this profession through the pandemic? Because I think there's still a little bit of a ripple effect that we're dealing with now. But how did you
Yes.
manage in the heat of it?
Well, my during the heat of it, my whole world switched to drop offs.
Yeah.
I think everybody was nervous. Don't come inside my house. So, are you safe? Are you good? Just drop it off at the door. That was fine for me. You still want food? Cool. We can just drop it off the door and just keep it moving that way. I had a client. He worked for Sony. And when this first, all this first happened, all the lockdowns happened, uh, people not knowing what they're going to do, people just they're just new to all this information.
Hmm.
He calls me up and he's like, "You still cooking for me, right?" I say, "Yeah, I'm still cooking."
That's all people are worried about is filling their stomachs, right?
Exactly.
So how has business rebounded since for you and life rebounded since?
Obviously, each year has its moments. Even like
Hmm.
2024, again, 2024 has its moments. But as it progresses, even as we watch like inflation and things like that, it's still working itself out. But I
Yeah.
think it's the moment of being mindful and being able the ability to adjust, the ability to see how things are shipped in. Some things may be shipped in, some things may not be shipped in. So you constantly you have to adjust on the fly
Yeah.
and really be the true chef that's in you.
Have you noticed a big impact of shrinkflation in food costs? For people that don't understand what shrinkflation is, it's where a package of something maybe made a little bit smaller, but still has the same cost, like that, 16 ounce
Yep.
of potato chips is 14 ounces all of a sudden, and it's got the same cost.
True, but it feels like 2 ounces sometimes.
Right? No kidding. No kidding, man. No kidding. And the reason I ask is because for my day job, which I don't ever talk about on the podcast, I notice an impact on that. So I tend to relate to a lot of other people that kind of see the same things.
Well, I mean, it's crazy because you'll sit in the grocery line, you just look around, and you just kind of just question, okay, since when did a Snickers bar is almost $3?
Right.
Yeah, right. It's like that. Where are we right now? So that puts things into perspective. Puts things like produce in different stores. Um, Milk $7, bread's gonna almost be $10, pushing more than that. I think people got reality check as they go to like even like fast food restaurants. There's a big uproar with like McDonald's, Big Mac combos, things like that. You know, it's costing more than I can go to a store, buy a pound of ground meat and just cook it up and feed so many people and save less than what it costs for a Big Mac combo.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. But it's also on the upside, if I were to try and find a positive in the negative, I think we're starting to see a swing back to farmers markets and backyard farmers and people like trying to source their own ingredients more than maybe they were even 5 years ago. Am I mistaken in that? Or are you noticing the same thing?
No. You're absolutely correct. I think it's putting people into the realm of, okay, I have to cook and provide for my family. You know, everything can't come quick, or it's going to cost you so much more than actually going to a market. And you can spread your food out, spread it to where it lasts, cook things, preserve things, make sauces, freeze it. So you're making your dollar go longer with farmers market shopping versus wanting to eat out all the time. And granted, we have to go out, be sociable, and those things are part of us. But in the end, I think Americans look at their dollar at the most.
Now, I know this is going to be asking you to pick your favorite child, but do you have a favorite experience serving a celebrity that you're comfortable with talking about?
Well, I think the biggest surprise was cooking for Stevie Wonder on Father's Day.
Oh, dude. I'm a Stevie guy, so I love this.
I love classic. I love old school music. So I did his Father's Day brunch in LA.
Oh, man.
Phenomenal person, laid back, easygoing, a jokester.
Yeah.
You know, big jokester. So you know, just love the energy, love being around what he was bringing.
Oh my gosh, that warms my heart to hear that, because every time the weather starts to change, I'm in the Midwest. Every time the weather starts to get a little bit warmer, I put on his Hotter Than July vinyl on the record player. I'll listen to Master Blaster. I love Lately. I love that whole album start to finish.
Yes.
It's one of my most favorite albums. And the cool thing about that album is he recorded that after being on tour with Bob Marley, and he was inspired by Bob Marley, and that's what inspired all of his songwriting on that album. So yeah, so when I hear, you know, this story, this makes me happy.
that was one of the most surreal moments, I think. Because I mean, like you say, you always grew up listening to this artist.
Yeah.
You never, I mean, in your wildest thoughts, you never thought, okay, I'm just gonna go cook for Stevie Wonder. That's the last thing you probably think of. But it happened. It was able to come to fruition for me, and you know, definitely took advantage of the moment.
Because you've had these experiences, and I'm not saying like in the sense of like cult of personality, so to speak, but how important has your career been towards building relationships with people that you sustain over long periods of time? Because I imagine it does get pretty surreal at times when you do have those moments with a Will Smith or a Stevie Wonder.
I mean, well, it does. I mean, I think, but you have to stay in your zone, understand why you're there. You know, really be professional about it, and understand that, you know, let your food speak. You know,
Yes.
You let the food speak. Everything else gonna take care of itself. You know, so that's always my approach to a Stevie Wonder, a Will Smith, and any other event that I do, whether it's a corporate event at Emmys, ESPYs, Philharmonic, just let the food speak, understand, let them feel not just that night, but let them feel that 20 plus years of experience,
I love that.
so, and that's my approach to it.
Before we started recording, you mentioned that there is a cookbook in the works. Let's talk about what goes into that, and how over are cookbooks in a digital age where everybody's doing things online. Are you excited or nervous about it, or
I think cookbooks are still a phenomenon. I think people, like you said, we're in the digital age, but I think anyone can read a book digitally. But
right?
I think as far as a cookbook, it's something you have to have in your hands. You
Yes.
know, being digital, kind of scroll, it just doesn't cross over the same. So um, having that physical copy in your hand, scroll through it, take your notes, write your notes throughout the whole book. If whatever your favorite recipes are, those are
Yeah.
key. Those are long lasting keys that just won't go away. It's like, I look at it as like comfort food. You have all these trends. Now we're in the vegan age. Now we're in the Michelin star age. All these trends that people go through, but they always come back to comfort food.
Yeah.
It doesn't go away.
Yeah, I was just talking about the Stevie Wonder record. Like, I could put on the same exact album on Spotify, but it's the ritual of taking the vinyl out of the sleeve, putting it on the record player, dropping the needle down. I was hoping you would answer that way, because I know cookbooks are the same way. I think we all have some form of memory of going
Mhm.
through our mothers or our grandmother's cookbooks and like marking the things we want them to make. It never turned out like the picture, but marking the things that we wanted them to make as kids.
True. Well, we we write on memory, and
Yes.
when you take notes, when you write down notes, you retain that information a lot better than reading something digitally.
Yes, I
So,
agree.
and that's the thing about really being able to retain our recipe. Write
Yeah.
it down. It's for this generation, it's prehistoric, it's old school, but you retain it a lot better.
I've got three daughters that are all about to finish high school, and I will tell you, and this is, I think, encouraging to me, and I think it should be encouraging to anybody from our generation and above. They're very much old school in the way that
Mhm.
they approach things. This group of kids that are in high school right now, they give me a lot of hope, because my daughters, they look at cookbooks, they buy records,
Yeah.
they would rather go to, they go thrift, they go do cool things that, like, I don't know, I think the generation in between maybe has forgotten about, but it's very encouraging to see that.
Yeah, that's very encouraging that, you can't forget what got you to this point,
Right.
where we are today. Like you mentioned music, you mentioned Stevie Wonder, you look at people like that, um, classic music that just doesn't go away, timeless,
Right.
timeless, hits after hits. You can go anywhere and you just pick it up just like that, versus like a music today, you know, you may remember it for a time. Then after that, it's,
Yeah.
it's gone. It's outside your memory.
Yes.
So you take care of those classics in the food realm of it. Those classics that really got you through childhood, got you through college. Easy times, tough times. You really hone into those recipes that really took you to those places.
So, in an industry that can sometimes feel crowded, what do you do to set yourself apart from your contemporaries?
Oh, just stay true to myself.
Yes.
Yes, that's the bottom line. You're not trying to really fit into a certain realm, but know what got you there, and stay hone that, take different pieces from people that you learn from and really developing your own identity.
Does Chef Ryan have a signature dish that he likes to surprise people with?
That's a tough one. Because I mean, that's a tough one. Everything's always changing. Me's always changing. Um, sometimes I want to show them where I'm from, and sometimes I just want to, give them French, give them Italian, give them so many different things.
Yeah.
So I always try to just keep it open and allow the food to be a signature to itself.
A little dodgy. But that is such a safe answer. But it's a good answer. That's a good answer. You got to let it speak for itself. I'm sure. And that personal touch and that personal love. Going back to, talking about things like the old cookbooks and what have you.
Yes, yes. And like you said before, I'm definitely looking forward to the one we're getting ready to put out. It's my Creole Cali Kitchen. So it talks about, obviously, Creole cuisine, my upbringing, some of the dishes I've been able to put my perspective on. Then, because Louisiana food, it's a melting pot, but we don't really consider other states of it being a melting pot. So many people, so many ethnicities move into certain different cities, big cities like that, like you're in the Midwest, so many different ethnicities. You're a melting pot within yourself. Same thing out here in LA. It's a melting pot within itself. So you kind of learn those things, learn those styles of cooking, but in a different region.
Yeah.
And so when you mesh the regions, you have a whole different style of food.
Do you have a release date for the book?
Our release date is June 3rd.
Oh, nice.
June 3rd, but we'll be ready for pre-sale in December.
Through all these experiences, what is the biggest thing that you've learned about yourself through this journey?
There's no quit.
Yeah.
There's no quit. It's like it's like I guess when you watched The Last Dance. I watched The Last Dance during the pandemic with Michael Jordan, the Bulls.
Yeah. Yes.
His level of focus was off the charts, and that's where I try to keep it at. So he had no quit, and that's what I try to take it to. Teach those things for myself. You can't have no quit, because you could be close to something. If you quit, you don't know what you're capable of. So keep the grind, keep the focus.
And that's very similar to Michael Jordan's passion of basketball. Food is a very passionate thing. It's something that everybody needs, everybody's got an opinion about, and
Right.
everybody is passionate about.
Exactly.
So I appreciate that idea that there's no quit. All right, Ryan, here's the magic closing question. And man, I've enjoyed sitting and hanging out with you. We're gonna have to do this again. But
definitely.
My magical closing question is, what's your advice for making the world a better place tomorrow than what it is today?
Whew.
It's a deep one.
That's a tough question, because there's so many characters out there, so many characteristics. So many people's hearts are moved in different places nowadays. But I mean, to answer that question, is just love your neighbor. No matter what, no matter differences, get to know them for who they are, and just build like we used to, back in the day, like you seen your grandparents. Like they had a community within itself, and that's what it should be about. You're not going to always agree on everything, but you're always going to come together and create a better world.
All right, my friend, tell my audience where they can find you online.
So you can find me on Instagram at NOLA Chef 212. Website is RondenoCulinaryDesigns.com. You can find me on Facebook at Rondeno Spice Collection. And I'm on TikTok, _food culture.
Everybody that's watching or listening to this, make sure you give this man a follow. It's really important to celebrate good food and good people.
Yes.
Ryan, man, it's been a pleasure talking to you. The world's a much better place with you in it, my friend.
Hey, likewise.